So hi, Joe.
Hi,
I was going to do the whole spiel going in. I mean, hi, this is Real Tea with Dan Ritter. Tea, yeah. It's the first time out for this, and I'm going to turn the gain down one more time, because I feel like it was actually pretty good when we started. I just was overreacting. Get less of us, like, moving around in our seats.
Sure.
I'm actually just, like, really proud that this is happening. Oh, we're holding hands. That's great. So, yeah, I've been wanting to have a podcast for a while on like 800 different things, and committed to none of them because none of them felt like right to. And like everybody has a podcast. So it's like, what
I've thought about it myself.
Of course you have. Film, probably, maybe.
Coasters, who knows?
Oh, coasters, that's right. Oh, shoot. Okay. Yeah, we're going to get into that. But yeah, so my thing was I couldn't come up with anything that felt genuine enough, and also like that I would do for more than one episode of anything,
Sure.
that's
Yeah.
like worthwhile. Because I mean, you're well aware of how many nerdy things I have in my life. Also, there's a lot of them up here. But like, none of that felt like the whole thing. And even real estate, obviously I'm a realtor. Duh. It's like my whole thing. But even that like just felt too, not obvious, that's not the right word, but like too narrow in a lot of ways. And not like as genuinely thought out as what I wanted it to be. So there will be some of that, because obviously there'll be some of that. But the thought, over the last couple of years, I've lost a couple of people who were really important in my life, as well as gained new people who were wonderful as well. But, we lost my grandmother, and then more recently my aunt, which was pretty sudden. And the thought that I had through all of that was like, what if I could record important conversations I've had, or record conversations that were meaningful to me? The hard part about that is you can't predict those types of conversations.
Yeah, of course.
So it's not like, oh, let me go back in time, or let me like restage the whole conversation. And at the same time, there are a lot of people in my life, both friends, also colleagues, and professional people that I actually haven't even met before, that I hope one day this gives me an ability to sit down and talk to those kinds of people too, but just people who have in some way had an impact on my life, personally, professionally, spiritually, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd hedge my bets with my first one and, bring you. For those who don't know, this is Joe Ehrman-Dupre, my first guest. He is one of my best friends. We've known each other for almost, is it 9 years this year?
Almost 9 years, yeah. Wow. It's really kind of wild.
Like, we've been here in Philly for 9 years.
I know.
Wow. Well, before we get too much further into all the things I'm sure that we'll talk about, tell everyone who might be listening or watching, every 2 or 3 people, who you are. Like, what's your deal? What's your story?
Sure.
Yeah.
My name's Joe. Like Dan said, I've been living in Philly for like 8.5 years now, but I'm originally from Charlotte, North Carolina. Came to Philly by way of New York City. And I feel like a lot will be revealed in the conversation. I'm a proud queer fundraiser, coaster enthusiast, foodie,
So much.
cinephile.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like all those things.
That's great. I know these things
I love
about
being
you.
friends with Dan.
Yeah. I love being friends with you.
Yeah. And I love tea.
I know, right? Oh, that's a great kind of way to connect in, because I feel like this is the first day of class, like this is the syllabus episode. It's like, here, let me explain all of the things. But even the name of the podcast is obviously, it's like a multiple play on words. So Real Tea, obviously realty is real estate, which is what I do. It's my thing.
I hadn't even gotten that one.
Oh yeah. Realty, like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Real tea, as in like no tea, no shade, like telling the truth,
No
very
pink
much.
lemonade.
Yeah, taken from the ballroom scene through queer culture into my living room.
Mm-hmm.
And then realty prior to real estate. For those who don't know, I worked in the specialty tea industry for almost a decade. So I'm still a tea snob. Oh.
Hey, this is Rowena.
Yeah, co-star of the show. This is
Hello.
Rowena. She's one of our 2 cats. She's very friendly and very loud, but she will, I'm sure, be here anytime we...
Do you want me to dissuade her?
No.
Okay.
She lives here.
Yeah, I'm happy to have her here.
Yeah, I know. I know, honey.
Don't dip your tea. Okay.
Yeah, she's going to try to put her tail in your tea.
Yeah, it's
So,
okay. Yeah.
Yeah. She'll perch right up there if you let her. Well, or not. Yeah. So yeah, important conversations, people that are in my life that I'd love to sit down and have a conversation with, drinking good tea. I will be plenty of tea puns. We will also always serve tea because that's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's my thing. Also talk about just kind of a catch-all about life, lessons we've learned about things. I won't dig into regrets, but
Being here right now.
Bitch. No.
It's all happening.
It is. See, she's so excited to be here. And see, now you've opened the floodgates.
I'll have everyone know that this is the most attention I've ever received from Rowena.
Yeah, she knows she's on camera.
She's like
father, like daughter. She knows. She knows what's going on. So yeah, just sitting down. The other thing too is I want to be able to let my friends kind of promote the things they're involved with. So we'll talk about some of the stuff you're involved here in the Philly area. We'll talk a little bit about real estate stuff along the way too. One thing I really would love to kind of not dig in about with you, but we just kind of went through the second time I've helped you look at rentals, and both times there were all these hurdles that come up because the rental market is just so absurd.
Terrifying.
Yeah. And both times you've ended up finding places outside, which is normal, for especially a city like this that's not as heavy on multiple listing service things when it comes to rentals, that and often it makes it harder even to get a place when you're going through that. So I'd love to talk about kind of your frustrations and that, things that you as an observer, someone who doesn't deal with it on a daily basis, kind of realized along the way.
Yeah.
But first and foremost, you picked up your keys. When do you all officially get moved in?
Well, our lease started January 15th.
Okay.
By our, I mean me and my partner,
Yeah.
Jamie. Hi, Jamie.
Oh, hi, Jamie.
I chose this happy Hanukkah mug for you.
We're both drinking out of cat mugs. That's
great. We got our keys on January 15th.
Nice. And
we are doing our big move this Friday. So 4 days from now.
Oh my gosh.
My goal was to hire movers for the first time, because moving into my most recent place, Jamie and I think, came closer to death than we ever have before, moving in an armoire and a dresser that are solid hardwood. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm not moving these out.
I mean, the stairs there are steep.
Treacherous.
Yeah.
And these will have to go upstairs at the new place too. So we hired movers.
Oh my gosh.
I'm very excited.
That's awesome. It's a big moment.
It's a big moment.
It's the first time you've had movers moving?
Yes. Yeah. I can't wait.
That was us when we moved in here. I'd never had movers. I'd basically moved once a year for 10 years at that point too. And so I was just kind of used to being a mule.
Gay nomad.
Yeah, right? Oh my gosh. And it's not like I accumulated less stuff because of that. I just made it harder on myself every time I moved. Right. And yeah, the first time we used movers when we moved in here, and I kept trying to help because it felt so useless when they were moving. Like, no, our insurance doesn't cover you. You can't do any of this.
I suspect that Jamie and I will both be the same way. Yeah. But we've also been moving little by little other things that they won't move. So maybe I'll just be done with it by then, and I'll lay back with a cup of tea and a spiked cup of tea, maybe. We'll see.
We didn't do that tonight. We're dry January.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I'm not, but
no.
But tonight, yeah.
I mean, teetotaling. You're welcome. Tonight we're drinking teas by Harney and Sons.
Oh.
Some of my favorite tea. They don't sponsor this. I just love their tea. So it's what we're having.
But they might.
I mean, hey, one day maybe it'll be worthwhile.
It's delicious.
Yeah. You're having a decaf Ceylon.
Mm-hmm.
Having some sencha green tea.
Mm.
That's a good thing. Oh, that's not mine. I can't use that. That's Martha Stewart. I can't call it a good thing. It's a good tea.
Is that what she says?
No, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we both moved to Philly in 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't really know a lot of people. Did you know a lot of people when you moved here?
No. In fact, I moved here with an ex who had gotten into law school here, and the only people I knew were my cousin and her husband. We stayed with them when we went to look at school. We stayed with them when we went to look for apartments. And then in the intervening month, they moved and left. So we went from knowing at least someone and having family to not knowing anyone.
Wow.
It was weird.
Yeah. Yeah, because when I moved here for work. I was still working in tea then. But I was also dating someone who lived here. Though 3 months after I moved here, we broke up too. So that was a good thing it wasn't the main reason I
barely
moved here.
knew ye.
I know, right? But we both joined a chorus locally because we didn't know anybody. We're like, how do you meet people when you're an adult in a big city? And that night,
joining a chorus.
We joined a chorus. Well, because we're gay. We're big gay. It's like, let's join a chorus.
Yeah.
And I remember that it was that night with you and me and Jefferson and Brian, all of whom will hopefully be on at some point.
I'm sure.
And it was almost like kindergarten where you sit down and you're like, hi, let's be friends.
That's exactly how I describe it to people.
Yeah.
All of us Brian had been here a little longer, but
yeah.
You and Jefferson and I had all just moved here, and the need for friends was real.
And we got lucky.
Yeah.
We really did.
Truly. Only one of the four of us doesn't live here anymore.
Yeah.
But we're still in close touch.
Yeah, and we still like him.
Yeah.
I mean, he moved away, so Brian, strike. But
yeah, no. But yeah, it's really lucky.
Yeah. We just hung out.
I know.
This past weekend, which is crazy.
To see
Mean Girls.
Redacted, the musical. I don't know, is that an advertisement?
It's a thing we
saw
did.
Mean Girls, the musical.
Yeah. The musical.
In the theater, yeah.
Yeah. It was so fun.
It was really fun.
Actually, the more that I have thought about it since we saw it, the more I have, fallen in love with it. I thought it was such
really
a delight.
Fun. Yeah.
Renee Rapp just does not enunciate, but, great voice.
No enunciation.
She was on SNL this week. She sang. She was great.
I didn't watch it yet, but I will.
Loved her. Honestly, the girl who played Karen.
So funny.
Oh, Avantika.
Who is a Tollywood actress.
She's amazing.
I think she's American,
Yeah.
born in America, but she's been in movies that were made in India.
That's awesome.
Which is cool.
Yeah, she was standout for me. Mm-hmm. I also really like the cinematography of it. I thought they did a good job adapting it to screen. Now, I am not a cinephile. In fact, one of the running jokes on a consistent basis is the fact that I have seen almost nothing that y'all ever talk about, especially things that are actively in theaters.
Yes.
And my taste is questionable.
And every Star Wars movie should have won Best Picture at the Oscars in the year that it came out.
Not everyone, but several.
Not the Phantom Menace.
No.
Probably.
Not the prequels. So this is very controversial in Star Wars world. I'm a big Star Wars The Last Jedi fan. The Rian Johnson one. Episode
I like
8.
it too.
Yeah.
It was my favorite of the most recent 3.
It is a divisive topic in Star Wars circles.
Porgs.
I mean, precious.
Fish nuns.
Yeah. It had everything.
The blue milk squirting sea creatures.
Actually, in this case, it was green.
Green, sorry.
Actually.
I love when Dan schools me about Star Wars. I actually find it very, very endearing.
I know more than I should.
You know as
To
much
not,
as you should.
yeah, but to not have it be my career, honestly, like it's kind of embarrassing. Like as hobbies go,
You're like, I wish I could
I
make
am
this
deep.
my career.
I'm deep. I went, you know this. We went to London this past year for Star Wars Celebration, and I dressed up as an obscure book and comic character.
And people knew who you were.
People knew who I was. In fact, there was a get together. All my High Republic stands, if you happen to be listening, hopefully some of them will. Well, yeah, who knows? But the High Republic is the new publishing initiative from Star Wars. New. It's like two plus years old now, but it takes place 250 plus years before the movies do, so it's like new territory. It's also like very queer, which has not been a thing in Star Wars.
Yeah,
which is pretty awesome.
You've told me about that.
Yeah.
I love that.
And so they had like a meetup for everyone who like dressed up as characters from this publishing initiative, and it was this massive crowd, like tons of people. And that was a moment where I was like, you have those moments every once in a while where you're like, okay, my people do exist. Like even if you have your good friends and like,
Yeah.
you know, but you'll be in those moments.
Fandom or like enthusiast culture is very different from friend culture.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, I think about what's the new coaster at Hershey Park you were so excited about?
Wildcat's Revenge. I am a coaster enthusiast. I am a card-carrying member of the American Coaster Enthusiasts, which is a nonprofit organization.
I love it.
I honestly wish I were more involved. It's, it's the kind of thing that requires a lot of like travel, expendable income. But Hershey Park does happen to be in day trips driving distance to Philly. We've gone together before.
We have. We did the Halloween thing. That was fun.
It was really fun.
Especially as someone who is notoriously a scaredy cat. What movie
Really
did we
like
see?
screaming and like grasping each other the whole time. It was very fun.
We saw a movie the year we both moved here together. It was one of our earliest movie experiences. It was a scary movie. It was those kids. They go. What is it?
The Visit.
The Visit.
M. Night Shyamalan's
Yeah.
The Visit.
And it's not like M. Night Shyamalan's movies are like that scary.
The last
really.
good movie he made, honestly.
Well,
it was scary.
It was scary. Also, that girl sitting behind us.
Oh my god. On the phone
With her grandmother.
with her grandma. Which the plot of this movie is these kids who go to stay with their grandparents, and I feel like at one point she said like, "Grandma, I don't know if I want to come visit you." And I was like, first of all, why are you on the phone?
Right. Why are you on the phone?
That's pretty funny.
Yeah. Man. And I got so fed up. Also, I was trying so hard not to pay attention to the scary things that I like turned and was like, "Can you please be quiet?" And it's the
You were just
first time
courting controversy and drama.
Yeah, but it's the first time I've ever been called the F word in public.
Usually only I call you that.
Right. I mean, that's also in public, but
And your husband.
Yeah.
And everyone.
Okay, so everyone does it. But this was the first time it wasn't like
I'm totally
earned. No.
No, that's messed up.
No.
I do remember that.
It
and
was.
It was like kind of shocking.
Yeah. It was like, and I'm from
Philly.
Alabama, born and raised. And this was the first time.
Are you? I
in
didn't
public.
know that about you.
Oh, shut up. There's literally Alabama on my socks right now.
I was surprised you didn't pick your Roll Tide Alabama mug.
I know. It was there's two over there. I don't know if you saw both of them.
No, just
But
the
I
one.
just felt like Cat Dad was the right choice.
Yeah.
Today. And now that
Wow.
Rowena has clearly
I think
staked her
I
claim.
should have that one. Yeah.
know.
She's here for the long haul.
She is. She's in it. She found someone
Firmly
who will
ensconced.
scratch her head. All right. Well, so going into this knowing that the likelihood is I've seen maybe one or two movies in the last year. What were your like favorites, like top three? Not necessarily like your awards bait, but like the ones you enjoyed.
So when I'm asked this question, ordinarily I pull out my phone and look at Letterboxd, which if you aren't on Letterboxd, you should get on it. It's really fun.
Okay.
I mean, it's not fun. It's truly just like a way to track the movies that you've seen, and you can rate them, and you can rate every Star Wars movie. And
I mean, they're
Lord of the Rings.
Can they all be tied? No. All Star Wars is good Star Wars.
I think the movies I had the most fun seeing this year were Barbie.
I did see that.
Which I absolutely love.
Yeah, me too.
That's not like revolutionary, but
yeah.
I think it's brilliant. Bottoms.
Okay.
Did you see it?
I didn't, no.
It's so funny.
Okay.
So funny, very queer, weird, like girl fight club.
Okay.
Club at school formed in order for the queer female protagonists of the movie to be physically close to other young women at their school.
Okay, that's great.
It's very funny. And what was the other one I was going to say? I mean, I've seen a lot of movies. I would say a movie that I didn't so much enjoy as find very powerful and well worth seeing was Killers of the Flower Moon.
Okay.
Which was the new Martin Scorsese movie. Yeah. Based on a nonfiction book about the Osage Indians in Oklahoma in like the 19-teens and 20s who were like systematically killed off by the white people who were marrying into their families.
Oh, wow.
So that they could have head rights to the land, the oil land that they owned. It was fascinating and tragic, and the book is really good and the movie is really good.
Okay.
And I highly recommend it.
Okay. Actually, I might see that one. No, because Lily
Gladstone.
Yeah, Gladstone's mom was on NPR this morning.
What?
Yeah, she was talking about how
the lead actress of the movie.
Yeah.
She's great.
And she like had the ability to take a lot of control of some of her education, which is why she was able to kind of study indigenous language and that kind of stuff when she was younger, and it had a big impact on her life. But which I thought was really interesting. It's good. I thought it's a good listen. It's a good interview.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I've wanted to. That has actually been on the list of things that I was like, I should probably see that. Any good books last year?
I read Killers of the Flower Moon leading up to the movie coming out.
Okay.
And really thought it was super well done. I joined a book club at work.
Oh my gosh.
And the book that I suggested to the group, we like had a list where everyone was putting suggestions in, got voted as the first book of the group.
Look at that. What is it?
It's a book called North Woods.
Okay.
Honestly, can't remember the name of the author right now.
Great.
I can see the cover. There's a mountain lion on it.
We'll put it up on the screen if you're watching this.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And it's an interesting concept. It's like the first little short kind of prologue chapter is two people kind of on the run from a Puritan colony. Like a young couple who have basically eloped against the wishes of their families. And they run off into the woods for like a week. They're like hiding out in the woods, and they come across this meadow, and they're like, this is the place we should live. And so the first chapter ends with them laying the cornerstone for a cabin that they build, and every subsequent chapter is about a different inhabitant of that spot.
Oh,
like,
wow.
Through like centuries. I think it'll even go maybe sort of past our present moment, like maybe sort of into the future.
That's really cool.
There's already some stuff with like animals who also inhabit this area, and like it's very textured and multi-layered, and it's really beautifully written.
Well, look up the author so I can add it to this year's list.
Yes. I should know that, but it's fine.
It's okay. I was racking my brain for it's a well-known book, the book that I read the first week of the year this year. Circe.
Oh, yeah. Madeline Miller.
Thank you. God. I was like...
I love that book.
Yeah. Well, my husband, Byron, friend of the pod,
Hi, Byron.
Hi. I made him leave for us to record this.
Oh.
He's downstairs playing
The Beaver game?
I don't think it's Timberborn. I think it's either Foundation or there's a new one called I think it's called New Cycle that we just discovered this weekend. Listen, city builders, we are.
Y'all are gamers.
Yes.
It's different.
Yeah.
Less than many of our friends.
Yeah. We have like
more than me.
Well, yeah, but say. I mean that's
I'm the
bar.
least. I'm the least gamer.
I mean, we have generally 1 or 2, maybe 3 games that are happening at any given time, but like I'm bad. Like, I'm not a good gamer. Byron is a great gamer. It's okay. You can't be good at everything. It's nice if you're good at some things, though. I would like to see what that's like sometime. No. Byron is a great gamer. Like he's got the coordination and like skills for it, and I enjoy the story. But I like playing some like if it's a Star Wars game, for example.
Of course.
I play it.
Yeah.
Like that. I'm gonna do that.
I mean, I became a roller coaster enthusiast. Single-handedly from Roller Coaster Tycoon.
It's one of the few games on my computer downstairs.
Oh my god!
I love Roller Coaster
Specifically
Tycoon.
Roller Coaster Tycoon 2.
Yeah.
Because the graphics are just like so much better.
Yeah.
And they just like anyway.
Yeah.
Wow.
Love that game.
I don't know if I would love it now. I think I probably still would. For me, it was never about the objectives or like the campaign sort of things. It was just building things.
Yeah.
And sometimes slaughtering trainfuls of people by having the track go off into oblivion.
Okay, well, we're gonna unpack that after this break. Take
Everyone does that.
I never did that.
Oh my gosh,
I did it.
You for sure did.
We'll be right back. Hey folks, Dan Ritter here, host of Real Tea. This isn't an ad, and they're not a sponsor, but I did want to take a minute to talk about the tea we're drinking today. Harney & Sons Tea, founded in 1983 by the late John Harney, is a distinguished tea company known for its premium loose-leaf teas and unique blends sourced from around the world. Renowned for its commitment to quality, sustainability, and ethical sourcing, Harney & Sons has garnered a loyal following of tea enthusiasts, including me. With a focus on delivering exceptional tea experiences, Harney & Sons stands out for its elegant packaging and attention to detail, making it a go-to choice for those seeking a sophisticated and enjoyable tea drinking experience. Today, we're drinking decaf Ceylon black tea and Japanese sencha tea. You can check out their awesome selection at harney.com. Okay, so you would purposefully build roller coasters to kill people is what you're saying. And that led to your love of roller coaster. Like, what's the line?
I'm shocked to hear that you didn't do that.
Me?
But I think everyone who played that game, I thought everyone who played that game did it. Anyway, I think maybe playing Roller Coaster Tycoon coincided with, I mean, I grew up in Charlotte and we had a great amusement park just outside of Charlotte on the North Carolina-South Carolina line. As far as I know, the only amusement park that crosses the state line, which is kind of cool.
Yeah,
because,
cool.
You would like walk in the front entrance and it's like you can straddle the line. Which is cool.
Yeah.
So I enjoyed going there. My dad would always take my sister and I and like our neighbors, and that was fun. And also YouTube became like a repository of like roller coaster POV videos.
Oh yeah. I've watched those.
So you could ride a roller coaster from, your computer chair or whatever. And I think all of that kind of meshed and coincided and got me really into roller coasters. I always found them very visually appealing.
Yeah.
I always felt like if I had any skill with math, which I consistently did not as a kid, that I would maybe have become like an engineer and could be someone who works in designing roller coasters. Although most coaster manufacturers are like in the middle of nowhere. Like they have to be able to build like small prototypes of their rides and things. It's just like very rural, almost like desert locations and for a lot of them. Anyway, all that to say, it was a perfect storm that got me really into roller coasters.
What are your 3 like favorite parks? And then if you have, favorite coasters, but
My favorite parks are Hershey Park, in part because of proximity, and I've been there more than any other park.
Fair.
And I'm just like very familiar with it, but it's also a nice place. Dollywood, which
God.
is a magical place.
Yes.
I think that even if someone doesn't like roller coasters, it's a worthwhile trip. Dollywood is so beautiful.
I mean, I haven't been since I was maybe 7 or 8.
Mm-hmm.
Because we would do Dollywood Pigeon Forge, like all that. We like Dolly is the patron saint of our family, so like
of us all.
But I would love to go back as an adult.
It's really fun. We should absolutely take a trip there.
I'm 100% down. All right, and then where else?
I guess I would say Disney World.
Really? For roller coasters?
Not for roller coasters.
Oh, just parks. Like the overall.
I'm sorry, not Disney World.
Okay.
I don't know why I said that.
Yeah.
The coolest theme park experience that I've had the luck to be able to do was going to Phantasialand outside of Cologne, Germany.
This is the German one, is it?
Yes. Last May, my partner Jamie and I went, and we stayed on site in a steampunk themed hotel.
Oh my God.
Literally walk out of the room and there's a roller coaster like roaring by you, like in and around the land of the park where the hotel is. It was so beautiful. The roller coasters are great. The theming is incredible. The food was delicious. It was fantastic.
That's awesome.
So it's nice to have places like Dollywood a little closer to home. But I have many international coaster trips that I would love to take.
That's great.
We'll see.
I'm so into that. Growing up in Birmingham, Alabama, the closest place for us was Six Flags Over Georgia.
Uh-huh.
So that was my first theme park. My first roller coaster I ever rode was the Mindbender, which is the Riddler themed coaster in the Gotham City section. Now, I don't know if it's still themed like any of that's still themed like that. Is it? Because I haven't been to Six Flags since, I want to say, probably like 20. It's been over a decade.
Yeah. I went once
Yeah.
with my dad. We like took a weekend trip to Atlanta.
Yeah.
And
I'm with my dad. That was my first roller coaster. My dad was working in Atlanta at the time, for most of the week, every week, and I was over there, and
yeah,
he took me to Six Flags. Didn't ride Batman that first time because I was a scaredy cat.
Oh yeah.
But I love Batman roller coaster.
I've always simultaneously been fascinated by and ultimately loved the experience of riding every roller coaster I've been on. And I think I have I would say, healthy fear.
Yeah, I mean, you would have to a little bit, I think, for it to even be enjoyable.
Well, people always laugh because I have a fear of heights.
Yeah.
And they're like, how can you like roller coasters and have a fear of heights? And my real answer is I close my eyes going all the way up the hill and try and ignore as much as possible how high off the ground I am. But then as soon as I crest the top of the hill and doing the rest of the ride, I love every second of it.
Okay.
So a mixed bag.
Also, like, there is some level of being strapped in.
Oh, yeah.
It's not like you're standing freeform at the top of the drop hill.
I don't have any fear about roller coaster safety.
Yeah.
Which is one thing I would encourage people walking away from this to take with them. Because I'll, like, tell my mom about some new roller coaster I rode, and she was like, I can't believe you went on that. But it's coming from it's like she thinks that I've survived something harrowing that's like legitimately dangerous, and I'm like, it's not dangerous. It's just fun.
So what do you say about that one they saw that had, it was like a cracked beam and no one was
At Carowinds.
Oh.
I don't think anyone's excusing it. It did run safely with a cracked beam for however long it did. And then they repaired it, and, you know, a little concerning, but doesn't prevent me from wanting to do it.
That's fair. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's I know that you mentioned Disney in passing, because I do think overall Disney, like,
Oh, it's magical.
yeah, it is absolutely magical. But it's not the roller coasters I think of when I think of Disney.
No, although Expedition Everest is really fun.
So much fun.
And I have not been in a while, so I've not done the Guardians roller coaster that opened recently. I've not done the new Tron roller coaster that opened recently. I haven't been to Galaxy's Edge, which I know is not any roller coasters, but, you know.
Well, they're not roller coasters,
some of the best dark rides in the world.
Yeah, I mean, the Rise of the Resistance ride is pretty...
Oh, I would love to go.
It's incredible. I mean, I would love to do Disney with you.
I was about to say, I can think of no one who I would rather go to Galaxy's Edge with than you. Ashamed that they had to close their Disney or their Star Wars hotel, except that it seemed like such an unsustainable model.
No, it was
exorbitantly expensive.
Here's the thing. The Galactic Star Cruiser. No, the Galactic Star Cruiser concept was awesome.
Yeah.
Like, what dreaming to make something that could do that. And also, how completely unsustainable of an experience.
Yeah.
Like, the fact that there were so few guest rooms on top of it all, and it was also just... It was only like a 2 or 3 night stay,
right.
And it was the cost of a week at other Disney hotels. Which, again, I get. It was genuinely an immersive experience. But, like, you couldn't do it.
You would have done it.
Oh, 100%.
You were
if
the client.
If the timing had been different... I 110% would have made that happen. I think there's another part in that's like, okay, 10, 15 years from now, when they try it again and have perfected it into an actual thing,
sure,
totally worth it.
Yeah.
But, like, man, what a disaster that turned out to be. Though, I will say that everyone who I saw online who got to go and experience it were like, whoa, the magic.
Wow,
like it's the Disney magic, which is real. And I'm not like a Disney gay, which, I mean, I'm borderline, but I'm not quite a Disney gay. But
no, you're like a Disney acquired Lucasfilms gay.
Yeah.
And, like, also like Disney movies.
Yeah, but, like, that is a really good, like, it kind of, once Star Wars existed at Disney parks, I was like, all right,
yeah,
I'm in. Let's do it. Mm-hmm. I'm not a shill, but I'm kind of I'm cool. They don't give me anything. So, there are people in the Star Wars fandom community that are like, will call, because people like things like, oh, you're a shill for Disney. And it's like, I wish I got paid to watch Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, I wish that, like, Disney was giving me money for enjoying it.
Yeah.
But I'm just a nerd.
Yeah.
just a big old nerd.
I love that.
Yeah. So
being nerdy about things is, like, one of the most fun things about being an adult.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't have to care about if people think it's nerdy.
Yeah.
And like you were describing, you find communities of people who are on the same page as you, and that's really a satisfying experience too.
It is. I mean, same for you with the coaster community, though.
Coasters, yeah.
You know?
I went to, I mentioned the American Coaster Enthusiasts, which has been around for, like, decades. Mm-hmm. And I just joined last year for the first time. They have a quarterly magazine, which is, like, actually really well produced. Awesome. It's nice. And then there are different regions represented, and so there's a region around here, or that Philadelphia is part of, and they do specific events. So they did an event at Hershey Park. They did an event at Knoebels, which is a wonderful place. It's up even kind of further north than the Poconos, near the New York State border, like 3 hours from here. but it's nestled in a little valley, kind of like Dollywood, honestly, location wise. And it's a family-run amusement park. You can go in for free. People bring their pets. There are like people walking dogs around. Jamie and I saw someone who had a pet skunk there on a leash. They have amazing food, like delicious pierogies and all kinds of other things. And then they also happen to have this incredible old wooden roller coaster, the Phoenix, which is like out of this world fun, like launches you out of your seat. There are not seat belts. There's like just a bar. You really like stand up going over every hill. Phoenix is incredible. And I went to my first ever American Coaster Enthusiasts event there.
That's awesome.
And it was really fun. I like got to meet a few people. There were easily 100 people there for the event.
Wow.
And yeah, I feel like people think, like you were describing with Star Wars, people think that a fandom or an enthusiast community is small, and then you realize lots of people love roller coasters, and enough of those people are nerdy enough about roller coasters to also join an actual organization about it.
Yeah. I love that, though. I love, like, you're saying, like, as an adult, it's finally, like, you can be the full extent of the nerd you always were. Oh, my gosh, it's so real.
Yeah.
I love that. I mean, as we look at all the Star Wars paraphernalia behind us.
Exactly.
That just sits out. This isn't. I didn't do this special for videoing. This is just what our mantle is like.
Oh, you don't have to tell me.
Yeah, that's fair. So, you know.
No, I love
that's
it.
our life.
I love it. And I love this picture.
It's my favorite picture from our wedding. It's not, I mean, it's, I don't know if they can even see it on video.
It's perfect.
Yeah. That was a fun day. That's a whole other episode.
You need to put in like alt text for.
I know, seriously. Here's what
to
you're not
describe this
at.
image.
Yeah.
See below.
We'll post it up. No. In the liner notes. This is not a CD.
I wish. I love liner notes.
Yeah, I know, right? The loss of physical media. Again, a whole other. That's a movie conversation we could have too.
I have DVDs.
Yeah.
I never even got a Blu-ray player. I like brought a DVD player to college with like my little TV and got Netflix mailed DVDs.
Yeah.
To my dorm.
Yeah. I remember that very clearly. That's how I watched one of my favorite shows that I've ever seen, and I watched it multiple times. It's Band of Brothers. I was a World War II buff. That's a whole other conversation. I did not retain nearly as much of it as I wish I had. But my friend in college, Charlie, and I Netflix Band of Brothers to watch. So it would come a disc at a time.
Yeah.
You'd watch through. That's also how I watched Battlestar Galactica in college.
Oh,
like I had to watch like all the Netflix DVDs. But
my good friend Dylan and I who were roommates as well, would pick which movies we wanted to watch.
Yeah.
And there were some weird ones.
Yeah.
I saw a few like weird movies for the first time on Netflix DVD.
Yeah. Same.
Including, I'm ashamed to say, I thought this movie was going to be like disturbing in like a funny way, and like a wow, freshman year of college, like buy a bottle of $3 Chuck from Trader Joe's and like split it with your friends and like get a little tipsy and watch this movie and laugh together. But it wasn't. The Human Centipede.
Oh no. That is not a let's have a tipsy little night.
I really thought it was going to be like funny, like poorly made, ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it kind of was both those things, but like also deeply upsetting.
Traumatizing.
Like really, really, really upsetting.
That's really funny.
I honestly, I remember like my boyfriend at the time was long distance, and I remember watching that movie and then like crying on the phone to him about it. I was like, I feel distraught. That's depressed.
I mean, like, that's a bummer, but also really funny.
It was very funny. When I think about it now, it was funny. But at the time, I was like, oh my God.
When I was, it was my senior year of college, and I was like beginning the processing of coming out, I got several decent gay movies from Netflix at the time.
I would love to know which ones.
Well,
I'm sure we've both seen
Latter Days.
Latter Days.
Big one.
Yeah.
Were the World Mine.
Oh, it loves that.
I was actually listening to the soundtrack last night.
The music's really beautiful.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Make the Yuletide Gay.
I don't know that one.
Oh my God, it's like my favorite Christmas movie. It's so bad. It's not like it is.
What about Dolly Parton's Christmas on the Square?
You know, I actually haven't watched Christmas on the Square.
That's so wild.
Isn't that shocking?
I've seen it like 5 times.
I mean, I should watch it. I know
we'll
I
watch
should.
it together.
Yeah, we should watch it together.
Yeah.
No, I just go on YouTube and watch the 1993 Dolly Parton Christmas special from TV.
Yeah.
Where she goes home to her Pigeon Forge.
Yeah.
Severville.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
But your gay DVDs.
Yeah, so that was how I like had access to that stuff, is I would use Netflix. I watched that documentary For the Bible Tells Me So. I saw it through Netflix DVDs of it originally, so.
Which I'm sure meant a lot to you at the time.
It did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would be interesting to watch that now, because I'm sure it's like, oh, times have changed, even though we still go backwards.
Yeah,
but
of course.
That's great. We're gonna take one more break, and then we'll come back and wrap things up.
Sounds great.
Awesome. Hey folks, Dan Ritter here, and in addition to hosting the podcast, I'm also the team leader for the Best Philly Homes team at Keller Williams and Power in Philadelphia. While I call the vibrant city of Philly my home and workplace, my network extends far and wide across the country. I've cultivated relationships with real estate agents from coast to coast, ready to assist with your property endeavors. Whether you're looking to buy, sell, or just have questions about the real estate market, we've got you covered. If you have any real estate needs or topics you'd like us to discuss on future episodes, don't hesitate to reach out. Visit realtywithdanritter.com and click on Contact Us. We're eager to hear from you and help make your real estate journey a smooth and successful one. I had to refill. So,
and we're back.
Welcome. So that's the tea. No. So yeah, we were talking earlier about how y'all are about to move into your place. You're about to move in place together with Jamie, which is super exciting. But also like the frustration of that whole process. I mean, I primarily work with buyers and sellers and investors, so I don't do as much on the rental end as I did when I first started out, so I'm not as plugged into that process on a consistent basis. So whenever I do go out and do rentals, I am also always kind of astounded at how in so many ways it's more challenging going through the rental process than the buyer process, because as a buyer there's at least some like standards across the board that have to exist, but like we had a rough time.
And some I can only imagine that there's also just like some more weight behind someone who's intending and has been approved for loans and, you know, like is really ready to buy.
Yeah.
And so I've always approached asking you to help with rentals as just like you're one of my best friends and I appreciate your help.
Right. But it's like
50-50
chance I'm going to be able to actually do anything for you.
Yeah. And you did. And like, it's always helpful to see some places for comparison's sake, to like get to know what the options are a little bit. And so that we definitely did together. But we did end up doing outreach to a number of different listing agents and whatever, through Zillow. And most of them were,
Oh, that'll be it, I think, because it's our Wordle /waffle /connections thread with my mom and my sister.
Oh,
so
that's sweet.
Yeah. Okay.
We reached out through Zillow to like a number of different listing agents, and most of them were very responsive, almost pushy responsive. But actually getting in to see places was very difficult. scheduling. I I think Jamie and I were fairly accommodating and trying to make it work. And multiple people just kind of like ghosted us in the midst of the process. The wildest experience that we had was going to see this house, South Philly. The pictures honestly looked wild. It's like significantly larger than any of the places that we were prioritizing, really, within our price range, which were largely like 2-story old row homes. And this was a 3-story, also old, not redone. So like filled with dark wood trim and like strange, like kind of bizarre built-ins and some like stained glass, which was actually really beautiful, like some really gorgeous features. But we figured it probably wouldn't actually be a match, but we wanted to see it. So we arrived the first day we were set to see it, and there was a line of people there to see it, which was the only time in this specific house hunt that happened to me. And the person who was there to show it could not get in. There was a storm door on the front, and she was like, "Anyone else want to try?" And like dangled the keys. So Jamie went up and tried to open the door. It was like shouldn't you be able to do this? And there just was not a key that could open this storm door. And so they were like, "We're going to waive the application fee. We'll reach out immediately to reschedule you." So we went back probably 5 or 6 days later for a second showing. We're already sort of well underway in the process with a couple other places. So we were like, this is truly just to see this in case it's incredible. A different person was showing it. Again, there was a line of us. And again, she could not get into the store. Both of these agents were from the same real estate company in Philadelphia. And there had not been communication that this was an issue the first time. She was like, "Here's what we're going to do. We'll waive your application fee. We'll reach out right away to reschedule you." And I said, "This already happened to us once before. I'm sorry.
Are you going to pay us for the application now?"
And the wildest thing is that I'm pretty sure that someone who was there in that group that night rented it, because the next day was off the listings. And like, I think they texted me to say like, this property has been rented. So like, sorry, we can't reschedule you. It was so, I was just glad that we were in an okay place with a couple other options. Otherwise, I think it would have been really demoralizing.
Well, I mean, that was the thing even the ones I was able to show you, there's just as many that are listed on the multiple listing service as aren't, and you run into some of the same problems,
Lest we should forget using a key to like get in the front door of a house, and the tenants are not only there but are not like moved out or aware that anyone was going to be there to see it, and we're like, we live here.
I mean, look, my thing is,
which was no fault of yours.
No.
Was,
And I will, one of my big soapboxes, and this, is that like, when it's time for you to buy a house, you have to do it when you're ready. Like, and it's not just a financial readiness. There's situational, there's time of life, there's professional need, like there's all kinds of factors. It's not just the financial piece. And so for a lot of people, renting makes the most sense. The thing that is my other soapbox is the thing that I'm always like, and at the same time, please remember, most people don't realize, especially in a city like Philly, it is less expensive overall to purchase a home than it is to rent in the long term. And in some cases, even the short term, there's so many new grants that exist within Philly for first-time home buyers that even from when I first started practicing real estate, like it's so much more accessible. than it used to be even. And with a city like Philly, where it is one of the 4 cities in the entire country where it is cheaper to buy than to rent, it's like the heartache of going through the rental process, because it is absolutely worse than the buying process. I don't care what anyone says. Mortgage will never ask more from you than the emotional labor of trying to get into a rental.
And I feel like when you're renting, you're also always on a tighter timeline.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like you're like, all right, I have a month and a half to figure this out,
Yes.
or whatever.
The hard stop date is tends to be more aggressive for renters. And that also means it's a quicker turnaround too. You can see a place you like and you could be in it the next weekend.
Yeah.
Comparatively. So like there are also, it's not a 1-to-1 comparison, but like anytime I'd go out and do rentals, it just gives me an appreciation for how much easier it is working with buyers and how people don't realize it. Mm-hmm. Because I think there's a lot of people who are scared to go through the buying process too, because they've been in the rental process.
Yeah.
And they're like, I can't imagine actually owning a thing after going through all of this.
Yeah.
But like it is abnormally
Yeah.
frustrating comparatively to like what it actually should be.
Well, I'm excited for when I do want to buy a house, because I'll be doing it with Dan.
Yes. No, I mean
obviously,
we will. Yes,
of course.
But it'll be a fun
Dan
process.
sold my sister her house, and you know, is a wonderful person at his job.
I love what I do.
Yeah, I know.
But also, man,
and it's fun.
The frustrations.
Yeah.
It's. I'm just so glad y'all have a place.
Yeah.
Y'all are gonna move into
and
it.
I can't wait for you to come visit.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm just
really
so
love
excited.
It.
I'm so excited y'all are moving into a place together too.
I know.
It's such a big moment.
I know.
It is a Monday night.
Uh-huh.
That we are recording this in January after snow for like a week. And so, you know, for a first pod, it might seem a little all over the place. So if you're listening or watching, I appreciate you hanging in with us. Joe, I would love, as we start to wind things down for tonight, if you would tell us a little bit about some of the things that you love and that you're passionate about in your day-to-day life.
Yeah. So my day job, I don't have a night job, so I don't know why I call it my day job. My job, my career is in nonprofit fundraising, and specifically sort of in like the arts and culture space. I am a fundraiser at a art museum here in Philly, the Barnes Foundation, and love it. And I'm lucky enough to also get to take whatever skill set I have from the work that I do and volunteer for a couple of organizations that I care a lot about, which I really, really enjoy, in no small part because I feel like I'm able to make a difference for them, and simultaneously I feel so exposed to a world that I don't know anything about, and I learn so much from being a part of it. So one of those organizations is called Vox Populi, which is an artist collective in Philadelphia with a wonderful gallery space in Northern Liberties. And they have had a rotating group of artists in this collective for getting on toward 4 decades. It's an organization with a ton of longevity in Philadelphia. It has a real name and a real sort of brand and identity as being really interesting alternative space. And I feel like I've just met so many amazing, very cool, very talented artists. And so it's a pleasure to be kind of in that environment and to apply a specific skill set like fundraising to an organization that's both sort of smaller than where I work in my day-to-day, but also just has this whole unique set of parameters and ideas and mission and everything else around it. So I love that.
That's awesome.
And I would highly recommend going to First Fridays at Vox. First Friday is a thing all over the city. It's a thing in lots of major cities. open galleries and things of that nature. But Vox is in a building with a number of other gallery spaces, so it's a place you could really go and spend like a solid couple hours, have a drink, walk around. There's always some snacks floating around, new exhibitions each month, things like that. And it's really fun.
That's awesome.
I love that. And then the other organization that I work with is called CineSpeak, which is based in West Philadelphia, celebrating 10 years and celebrating very recently becoming a 501c3 nonprofit organization.
Oh, that's awesome.
Which is very cool. And so I'm on the inaugural, like, first board of directors, legit board. There was an advisory board before that I was part of. So it's been fun to kind of make that transition with the organization. It's led by a really fantastic, wonderful, enthusiastic group of people. An executive director, Sarah, who's a pleasure to work with. And CineSpeak basically is about being a film presenting organization, specifically Philly filmmakers and otherwise underrepresented filmmakers, largely filmmakers of color, a lot of international film, and it's a very cool place. They have a journal, a criticism journal that's published online, that has a whole slew of fantastic writers, and yeah, it's a real pleasure to be a part of, and again, to do this fundraising work for. And the thing I guess I would tell people to look out for, it's not the season for it right now, but every summer, CineSpeak does a lot of outdoor screenings in West Philly. So those happen at Clark Park. They happen at Bartram's Garden. Both really beautiful spaces. And going to a CineSpeak event is like a very warm, cozy experience. Like the amount of community that comes out for them and enjoys watching a movie together. That's like my bread and butter in life. There's nothing I love more than like gathering with a group of fun people and watching a movie. So, yeah, I grew up with a fundraiser for a mom. My mom's a fundraiser. And she always volunteered on boards and shared her skills, obviously cared about philanthropy. And it's something that I get a lot of very genuine pleasure from participating in. So I feel lucky to be a part of both of those organizations.
That's great. You've done a lot with them, so.
Yeah. I like to think so, but there's always more to learn and always more to kind of grow and figure out. Yeah. So I was saying right before I got here, I was on a fundraising committee call for one of the organizations. So, moving and shaking.
Getting it done. Young professionals.
It's fun. It's fun.
You're still young.
Yeah.
You don't have all this gray and white yet.
It looks good on you.
You're right. It does.
And I tell you that every time I see you.
You do. You're very affirming when you want to be.
On that note,
Joe, thank you so much.
Oh.
It's always a pleasure. It's funny because what most people watching or listening to this don't realize is this is just what it's like to be around us.
Yeah, honestly.
I hedged my bets really hard with my first guest.
Yeah, this is... I hope it felt like an easy flow of conversation.
Yeah.
Because it feels very chill and comfortable.
I mean, I hope they're all like this.
We didn't even talk about Drag Race or, any number of other things.
I mean...
Maybe there'll be a part 2.
I think
I'm not inviting myself back, but...
But you just did. No, there are several folks that I want to have around that are probably going to be regulars of the show one day. Just because there's just so much we can talk about.
Yeah.
Because we do. Like Byron, my husband, who, again, friend of the pod.
I have a husband. You don't have a husband.
I have a husband. You don't have a husband from Bridesmaids. My favorite scene.
The number of times I have all that group of 3 friends and me that we kind of started this conversation with.
Yeah.
All married.
Yeah. We all have husbands.
For a long time now. You and Byron are coming up on 5 years this year? June?
This will be Oh, yeah, it will be 5 years.
2019.
Married, yeah. And the other 2 longer than that.
I thought you meant your other 2 marriages.
No. well,
we're all about polygamy here on the pod. The polygamy pod.
We're not.
Okay.
We're really not.
Sorry.
I mean, to each their own, but that's not for me.
It's also illegal.
Yeah, that too. I mean, y'all are the friends who were introducing Byron as Dan's first husband before we actually got married. So, great friends.
I love that. I forgot about that.
Thank you so much for being here and for spilling some real tea. I don't know if that's the catchphrase. We're going to work on the catchphrase because I don't have one yet. But, there's nothing like sharing a cuppa with a good friend.
Oh.
That's not it either. Yeah, it'll happen.
We'll have to get into my drag name next time.
We will have to get into your drag name.
Both of our drag.
That's true.
Our drag, as if we do it.
I think the last time we did it was at the same. No, it wasn't.
With any regularity.
Yeah, it was. That's a whole other conversation. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing. Where can people find you?
Oh, Instagram.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
I'm scared of X/Twitter.
Yeah, no.
I've never been a real user of that. So Instagram, JVED54.
And we'll also put up information for those watching or in the notes for CineSpeak.
And Vox.
And for Vox.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So you
would
can
love that.
check those out. And probably your little roller coaster gang.
My little roller coaster gang. The American Coaster Enthusiasts?
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, I would love to.
It's fantastic.
I'll let them know that I'm advertising.
Yeah, you should.
I'm not in touch with anyone really particularly, but,
Yeah. And we gotta go back to Hershey Park.
Yeah. Maybe we'll do a live pod from Hershey.
Oh my god. I have so many of those.
Carrying this around.
Anyway, let me wrap it up and then we'll talk for a minute
please.
longer, but I gotta do the sign off. So that's it. No, I don't know what the sign off should be.
That's okay.
Thanks for sharing a cup with us.
Happy Hanukkah.
Yeah. See y'all next time. Real Tea is hosted and produced by Dan Ritter, edited by Vincent Panlaqui, music by Music for Makers, and artwork from the creative mind of Jeff Boob, owner and designer of JawnGoods. If you have any questions about real estate in the greater Philadelphia region, or if you have any feedback or questions for future episodes, please go to realteawithdanritter.com. Thanks, and make it a great day.